Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaitlyn if you're new here, and I am documenting and sharing my entire journey to becoming a single mom by choice. My video last week was talking all about my egg freezing process, the stims, how I was feeling, kind of where I was at in the process. Today I really just want to do a recap. My retrieval was Thursday, March 21st. 2024, so 2 days ago now, and just wanted to fill you in on kind of how the end of the process went, how the retrieval went, and how I'm feeling now and what my next steps are. So my last video ended on Sunday, March 17th, which was St. Patrick's Day. Monday morning, I ended up going back in for my normal blood work, ultrasound for the day, and at that time, the doctor also wanted me to start including the ganirelix in the morning and at night to keep me from ovulating because I had progressed so quickly with the medication, and even a low dose of medication, my body kind of over-responded. We almost thought that we were going to have to cancel the cycle on Friday. So we were able to continue going on with the cycle. Monday morning, I did a ganirelix shot, went in for my blood work, and then did a ganirelix, a gonal, and my Menopur that evening. We decided that we were going to trigger on Tuesday night. So Tuesday, I went back in again for my normal blood work, ultrasound, did my ganirelix in the morning, and then went into work, did my normal daily routine, and I got a call on Tuesday around 3 o'clock that based on my levels, they wanted to change up the trigger. So before I was gonna be on a Lupron trigger, and then I actually ended up having to switch to an HSG trigger, which is more of an intramuscular injection. Thank gosh, I have two neighbors that are nurses, so I called one of them to see if she would be able to come over and help me with it. Just because the whole cycle has gone completely wrong so far that I didn't want to mess anything up, and this one they told me had to go in my butt, so I figured I would have her come over and help me so I don't mess anything up. So challenge with that was I was working and the pharmacy was over an hour away, so I had to kind of drop whatever I was doing, fly to the pharmacy, pick up the different injection, and then come home. Throughout the day, I hadn't been feeling great, and I wasn't sure if it was the stims and if it was just the hormones and my body not feeling great, but I felt really bloated. I felt very achy, almost like I had a fever, and she told me she thought I might be coming down with something. Well, sure enough, I got home on Tuesday evening and I had a fever of 101 and ended up with the stomach bug on Tuesday night. So that was awful. Trying to go through this whole process, which is hard on your body as it is, plus getting the stomach bug 2 days before retrieval. I was so worried that the fever was going to impact my retrieval, or maybe I wasn't going to be able to do it, or is it going to impact the eggs and what we have? I just wasn't sure. So Tuesday night was a bit rough, and me trying to process everything. Wednesday, I didn't have to have any blood work or anything like that because of the HSG trigger. I was good and didn't need to go in for any other testing. Fast forward to Thursday, which was retrieval day. So I had a lot of emotions around retrieval day. I think because my hormone levels were extremely high at that point and all over the place, I was emotional. But then also, you know, this whole cycle did not go anything like I thought it would go. And I always say that happiness is a function of expectations. And I believe that my expectations going into this process were set way too high by both myself and my doctor. I had my initial consultation and I had 33 follicles. I thought there would be no problems. Even if it didn't go as well as it could, I should still be able to end up with 10 to 12 eggs, according to him. I never anticipated a potentially canceled cycle or having it go completely wrong like it did. So I was kind of feeling like the money I spent was for nothing. And I'll talk a little bit more about how I'm feeling at the end, but there was just a lot of emotions around retrieval day. I'd spent a lot of money. I knew I wasn't getting the outcome that I had ultimately wanted going into it. And I get there. Everything goes well, except for it took them 3 nurses and 5 tries to get my IV started. So I was getting beat up and stuck left and right, which was awful. But all in all, the retrieval went well. They ended up retrieving 9 eggs, which, considering that it was almost a canceled cycle that Friday prior, 9 eggs was great, and I was happy with that. It still wasn't what I had hoped for and what I was looking for, but 9 eggs was about as good as I thought I could get. Thursday night, I felt fine. I had slight cramping, but nothing too bad. Fast forward to Friday, I get the call that 7 of those eggs were actually mature and able to be frozen. I really had this threshold in my mind of like 8 or 9 would be great. I may consider doing a second cycle if it was less than that. So now I'm wrestling in my mind with my feelings, frustration, and just so many different emotions as to what my next steps are. If you are new here, I'm going to link a video to kind of what my overall plan is, but just to summarize, I'm planning to start trying to get pregnant with IUIs, likely in the May-June timeframe. So I don't really need these eggs right now. It's just more of an insurance policy for a second child in the future, whether that be with donor sperm or a partner, and maybe I will meet the person I'm supposed to be with later on in life, and I have these eggs frozen and set aside. My doctor has generally told me that typically you need about 10 eggs to make 1 baby, so I feel like I'm short even to have 1. Now, everyone's egg quality is different. I'm younger, but until you actually fertilize the eggs, you have no idea what that quality actually looks like. And at this point in my journey, I am not at a place where I'm willing to fertilize the few eggs that I have with donor sperm, because there is a chance that I may meet somebody and I may want to use those eggs with them in the future if we are unable to get pregnant naturally. So I'm not really willing to lock myself into that path and create embryos just to understand the quality of my eggs. So in some ways, I was feeling that the 7 eggs wasn't enough, and what was the point of doing it anyway? And I've spent $13,000 for what? I still need to do another retrieval in the future if I ever need or want to do IVF. However, it would cost me an additional $10,000 because I do still have a lot of medicine left over from this retrieval that I can probably save some money on that end. But it's still $10,000 for an insurance policy that I may or may not need. And it's just a lot of money. That's the reality of it, right? $10,000 is $10,000 for something that you may or may not even need in the future, especially if I am able to get pregnant with IUIs in a few months. So I have been racking my brain trying to figure out what my next steps are. Journaling has been very helpful for me, and I think at this point, I have come to the conclusion that I am not going to do another egg retrieval cycle at this time. I'm going to stick with my original plan, try to get pregnant this spring, summer with IUIs. If that doesn't work, then I can do another egg retrieval and fertilize those at that time. If I don't, I can do another egg retrieval in a year or a couple years if I need to or want to. I am only 34. I'll be 35 next month in April. There are plenty of women that go through this process at 38, 39, 40. And I feel like I have a great head start with 7 eggs that are 34 years old. And I have a great head start to hopefully creating embryos and a child in the future. Statistics, you can rack your brain on statistics all you want, but at the end of the day, it does only take 1 egg. And I am choosing to make the decision that's best for me, both financially and physically right now. After the retrieval, I felt okay on Friday. Saturday was a lot different. I have been extremely bloated. I have had some stomach troubles. And I just want to feel like myself a little bit. And jumping into another retrieval with those roller coaster of emotions with no guarantee again, It's just not a risk I really think I want to take on at this point, because of the fact I don't know if and when I'm actually going to need them. So I'm going to choose to save that money. We are going to put that aside. Daycare is expensive. Kids are expensive. I'm going to want to do a beautiful nursery, and I'm going to want to buy the nicest stroller. I just know myself. So, and all the nice baby things. So I am choosing to just set money aside and take that path for now. If that doesn't work out, then I can go through another retrieval later on, but that's kind of where I'm at. The one thing that I will say is, if you are choosing to go through this process, if your fertility clinic has a type of a guarantee program and it's your first time going through this process, I would absolutely recommend taking the multiple cycle or guarantee program that they have. The first cycle, I'm learning, is kind of a crapshoot, and it's a learning experience for everybody. Who would have thought that my body would have reacted so fast to the meds and we would have ended up here? All the indicators said that I would be producing 10 to 15 eggs in one cycle. That wasn't the case. I ended up with 7. And I wish I had done the guaranteed 20 program, because at that point I would have done another retrieval, probably in May, and pushed off my IUIs. But I didn't. I made the decision that was right for me at that time with the information that I had. And I have to live with that, and I have to accept that everything happens for a reason. And that doesn't change my path. That doesn't change whether or not I will be a mom someday. But that would be my tip of advice if you are thinking of starting this process, would be look at those options. And if there is a type of a guarantee program or multiple cycles at a discount that your clinic offers, I would look into that, just from my experience not knowing how my body would react the first go around. If I were to do a second cycle, we were going to change the protocol completely. So it probably would have been more successful, which now I know for next time. And then just be prepared for the roller coaster of emotions. I don't think I was mentally prepared for that. And the highs and lows, changing literally from your ultrasound in the morning to your afternoon blood work call with the results. My results literally went like this the entire time. So it was an emotional roller coaster. I got the stomach bug. I haven't felt great the last few days after the retrieval. Now, I can still do everything I want to do, and I know that I'll feel better here in the next few days, but just be mentally prepared. It's a lot. It's a lot physically. It's a lot emotionally. It's a lot mentally. And I think you just have to go in with proper expectations, which I did not at this point. So that's where we're at. The egg retrieval is done. I have 7 little eggies on ice waiting for me for the future to potentially have a, hopefully, second child if I can get pregnant with my first through IUI. And I am still on this journey, and I'm still going to keep pushing through. You just never know, right? The numbers can really mess with your head. There are people I know that have 30, 40 eggs retrieved and none turn into a normal embryo. And I have people that had 6 eggs retrieved and they got 2 embryos out of it. And so you just never know. You never know. And you can't compare the numbers as much as you want to get some type of information. Or I'm an extremely competitive person. I always have been. I was a college athlete, and I've always been a very competitive person, that it's hard for me not to compare my numbers to others. But I know that everyone's different and every body is different, and I have to just give myself grace that my body did the best it could with what it had this cycle. And to be able to have 7 eggs on what could have been a canceled cycle is a win, and I'm going to take that as a win and go from there. But for now, just taking everything one day at a time. There will be probably a gap in some of my posting here coming up because, again, I'm not planning to start anything with IUIs until at least May. I want to give my body the month of April to just relax. I'm going on another vacation in the beginning of April. It's my birthday in April, so I have a lot of fun things planned, and I just really want to enjoy it before I take on motherhood and getting pregnant. So I will be keeping you guys updated with my process and my journey. I am looking forward to sharing more of this with you, but I hope you found the egg retrieval thing helpful. And this is not to scare anyone, but I hope that it is a very real depiction of what things look like so that you can make the decisions that are right for you and hopefully go into it with a better mindset than I did to not feel as disappointed as I feel right now. And I know 7 eggs is an average number, and I'm not trying to diminish anyone else's numbers if they had less than that or more. Again, everyone is different. It was just my expectations were set higher going into it, and I wish they weren't. So I'm going to choose to be happy about it, and I'm going to choose to keep pushing on and knowing in the end that it will all be worth it. So I look forward to seeing you guys in my next one. It will likely be me starting the process of IUIs and trying to get pregnant. So talk to you later. Bye.